Goldwing Rider, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who is fearless, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause in a world of reckless automobiles. These are my motovlogs.
What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Chris out on the Goldwing. Out here on the Goldwing. And today is October the 20th of 2015. And I'm just out here, man. And I was thinking about a comment from one of my viewers. And he said, Chris, you are living the life. You are living the life. You know, when I read that comment, I think it was from viewer David Rudd, if my memory is correct. And David Rudd says, Chris, you are living the life. That made me do some serious thinking, man. I had a flashback, you know, to my childhood. You know, when I was a very young boy, you know, grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. One of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the country.
133 murders, 421 rapes, 7,579 assaults. Your chance of becoming a victim of violent crime in Memphis, 1 in 57.
And, you know, man, we was poor, man. We was poor as dirt. And, you know, I just had a flashback when he said I'm living the life. And, you know, he's correct. You know, I try to live good, man, you know. But when I was a kid, man, we was poor as dirt, man. And I just was thinking back on my childhood. I can remember, man, when we was very poor. And, you know, the light company cut off our lights. You know, they would turn off our utilities because, you know, I basically grew up without my dad. I mean, he was in the picture, but he wasn't in the picture. You know, he shows up whenever he shows up. You know, he had another family on the side, away from my mother. And he showed up when he wanted to show up. But I basically didn't really have a dad. And, you know, my mother did the best she could, trying to keep a roof over our heads, you know, keep lights on in the house, and keep food in the refrigerator. She used to call it an ice box. You know, we call it a refrigerator, but Mom called it an ice box. But, man, we was poor, man, and, you know, they would always come out to our house and cut off our electricity, man. And in the wintertime, it was cold, man. I mean, it was so cold in our house, the roaches died. I mean, that's how poor we was. And, you know, you have a lot of poor people out here, man, and phone always ring when I'm motovlogging. But you have a lot of poor people out here, man. Some people choose to be poor, but you have a lot of kids out here, man, you know, they can't choose who their parents are. So you just have to grow up in the environment that you're in. And you can't do better until you know better. But anyway, man, you know, our lights would get cut off. We was cold. My brother used to say, man, it's so cold, I had to sleep under the mattress. You know, we had an old wood burning stove that we set up in the house to try to keep warm. We had a little pipe running out of the window, and we would go and get wood and stick it in the oven. I mean, stick it in the stove, the wood stove, to try to stay warm. And we had so much smoke around our house, man, it looks like the house on fire because we didn't have any utilities, man. And we was very poor. You know, my mother was on government assistance, you know, welfare and food stamps. You know, and I'm not ashamed of that, you know, and I tell people, when you insult poor people, you insulted my very existence, man. You know, we grew up, man, on the government assistance, on food stamps. I can remember going to the store, you know, spending food stamps. At the time, they had little books of stamps, you know. My mother did the best she could with what she had. You know, we just didn't have much. And so, you know, that motivated me to want to get up, you know, off of my behind as a young man and go to work. You know, even at 12 years old, I was working. And, you know, I don't want to give you guys a long story because it would take me a long time to really tell you the story. But, you know, I just thought back on how poor we was, man. We would go to the community center in my neighborhood and we would get what we call free lunches because, you know, we didn't have food at home, man. I mean, we was just poor. And, you know, it wasn't her fault. You know, she had a 6th grade education. So, you know, I just thought back to when viewer David Rudd said, Chris, you're living the life, man. And, man, I just thought back to how poor that we really was. You know, we didn't have anything. We didn't get anything for Christmas. Our lights would get cut off. We was on government assistance. We was eating powdered eggs, powdered milk, what we used to call free cheese, a block of cheese that was in a big box, you know, the beef, farina, you know, just whatever the government assistance that they had at the time, man, because we was just dirt poor. And, you know, without a father in the house, I basically just, you know, made a decision that my phone always ring every time I motovlog. It never fails. But I'm going to ignore that. But anyway, you know, man, we just didn't have much. We didn't get anything for Christmas. And we was just poor, man. Very, very poor. And that motivated me to get up off my behind, even as a 12-year-old kid, man, and go to work. You know, I had to go to work, man. If you don't work, you don't eat. That's what the Bible says. A man that doesn't work, he doesn't eat. So, you know, that's why I say, man, I try to live life to the fullest. You know, I try to get out here and go to work and have something for myself, man. And, you know, I turned out pretty good, man. Everything turned out real good for me. And I'm just blessed. My family's blessed. And I'm just very happy and excited, man. But, you know, we was poor, man. I mean, it would take a long story to really tell you how poor we really was. I mean, we used to take potty meat sandwiches to school because we didn't have any meat in the house. So my mother would take those potty meat cans and she would spread it out on the bread. And we would have to take that to school to eat, man. And the kids would laugh at us. I mean, it was just awful, man. All our clothes come from yard sales and, you know, we didn't get Nikes and, you know, Chuck Taylor tennis shoes. I mean, none of our things was new. Everything was used and secondhand. And we was just dirt poor, man. And like I said, it's a long story to try to run down how poor your boy Chris really was coming up. I mean, we was poor. I mean, my daddy used to ride a bicycle. I mean, we didn't even have a car. My mother had a car at some point, but my daddy, he rode a bicycle, man. And I learned how to ride bikes at an early age. So I guess now it kind of rolled over into adulthood, and that's the reason why I ride the Gold Wing. And so, man, I'm just trying to enjoy life. I'm trying to live life to the fullest. And I'm trying to have something for myself, man. I've been working since I was 12 years old, working 2 and 3 jobs, you know. You know, I like the kid and say, man, when I was 6 years old, I had a full-time job. I was actually 12 years old cutting grass, but that's another story. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you a small window of my past, man. We was poor. I didn't always have it this way. You know, I did not always have it this way, man. We was just dirt poor. Man, you wouldn't even believe it. And one day I just may ride back to my old neighborhood and show you guys where I grew up at. I just wanted to give you guys a short picture, just a brief overview that your boy Chris, man, grew up rough. We grew up rough, man. No lights, cold water. I mean, things that you can't even imagine. But, you know, that's what motivated me to make something out of myself, to do something with my life, to go to work and to have something. And now I can see the fruits of my labor, and I just thank God for that. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys. And I just wanted to share that with you. And maybe a little bit later I'll get more in depth about it. But right now, I'm just going to enjoy some of this 6 to 8 degree Memphis weather out here on the Gold Wing. Well, anyway, that's all I have for you guys. And I will talk to you guys later. See ya. Man, I can remember being so poor, man, that my mother used to send me next door to borrow sugar, borrow a cup of flour. She'd send me to the neighbor's house to borrow some washing powder, man. God, we was poor. These young people today have no idea. They have no idea